Flow Road to Home is life made simple. One affordable plan that gives you internet at home and mobile on the go. Constant connection anywhere and everywhere. Wherever your plans may take you. Switch today and get double the data on your mobile with 60 gigs plus unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube and 400 megabits per second internet speed. Flow Road to Home internet and mobile plan. Your non-stop connection. Visit a Flow store or discoverflow.co for more info. Conditions apply.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
At 5 minutes down past the 11 o'clock hour, you're logged on to WINNFM 98.9 for another episode of Voices. My name is Socrates. I'm your host on the 19th day of July, 2023. We're actually in the 7th month of the year. To all our listeners and viewers in the various platforms around the globe, good morning, good evening, good night in the various time zones. Welcome to another episode of Voices. Of course, if you're not here, you're missing all the glory of the double slice of paradise. We have with us today in the studio some very special guests who just walked in, so we've not yet been introduced, but I'm going to Raskalinji, who's no stranger to the studios of the Airways, make the introductions, if you will, sir.
Yes, greetings, brothers and sisters, it's good to be here and what the date of today?
The 19th day of July.
19th of July. It's a beautiful day here in the Federation of St. Kitts. And brothers and sisters, we have a lot of
Fella,
things.
you get in trouble,
Huh?
St. Kitts and Nevis.
St. Kitts and Nevis. Okay. Layamiga and Oli. Thanks for the correction,
Definitely.
you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, the colonial names, them, we don't really deal with that. But anyhow, we got to say these things to let people know.
One with the other.
Yeah. So we are saying basically, we are coming up on the 189th anniversary of emancipation. And that is very important. And the UNESCO Slave Route Committee and the Reparations Committee, we want to see that this particular day, which is the 1st of August, is recognized and, proper information is given out. I spoke to the Prime Minister on Friday. They had a launch of the 40th anniversary of independence, and Mr. Natta also, who is the Cabinet Secretary, and told them that in launching the 40th anniversary of independence, the whole question of emancipation should be included within these activities to highlight people, coming up to the 1st of August.
11 years from now, we'll mark the 200th anniversary.
Okay. And we also want the Culturama Committee in Nevis to acknowledge these things, even though we know that the Culturama, that, you know, they do acknowledge it, but in terms of educating our people, the significance of emancipation, we think that these things should be included in all these activities. Because we know we like to talk about August Monday, but somebody informed me that the reason why it was termed August Monday is because they wanted to deflect, the colonialists them, they wanted to deflect the real significance of emancipation. So that's why they term it August Monday.
Until roughly 20 years ago, folks didn't really know the significance.
Well,
it was by design.
Well, I'm going to give you some information. A couple of years ago, Parliament was in session, right? A couple of years ago. I think it was under the Labour administration. And both incumbent, what I'm going to say, the government and the opposition, on the 1st of August, they had Parliament, and none of them acknowledged that day. I mean, that was really, you know, surprising to me, that none of them acknowledged the day. Just to show you that we are going off course. What Granny said, we are off course. We have to get back on course. And before you go on, I like you just say what Granny said. What Granny said, love one another, respect one another. What Granny said, self-determination, self-respect, and self-resilience. What Granny said, stop the killing, we have a nation to build. What Granny said, plant weed for the cannabis industry, because that is the industry that's going to take us through. From here on in, to build new generations yet unborn. And I like to say what Granny said, that we as African people here in the Western world, which is part of the Republic of New Africa, we are saying that the only solution to this pollution is genuine African unity amongst our people. Because we are the soul of humanity. And whatever benefits humanity, whatever progress African people make, it benefits humanity. So we are saying that we are calling for unification of our people. And we want to pose the question, when callers call in, that are you interested in the unification, or you want to see unification of our people? Not only here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but in the Western world and throughout the African diaspora. But I just like to let my friends that I met, they came by the store and they saw the pictures, the lady here, the sister here, and she said that she had to come back because I wasn't there at the time. They're here from Bonnier, and they're seeking support from different governments throughout the Caribbean to help them in terms of getting their independence from Holland, right? Yeah, yes. Holland. They're colony of Holland. So I'd like them to introduce themselves.
President first, she's the Dr. Davika Bisasa?
Yes.
That's Davika Bisasa Shah.
Yes.
And you're the president of the Bonnier Human Rights Organization?
Yes, yes.
And your partner in crime would be, sir?
Yes.
You would be James Finesse?
James Finesse, yes.
Okay. And you're the vice president of the Bonnier Human Rights Association.
Yes.
And you would have met the esteemed gentleman.
Yes.
And I know the location of his store is very attractive if you're interested in human rights issues. And I'm glad you would have met, because today you are actually here on Voices to speak to us as to your cause. You're here with us now.
Yes.
So if you want to go first,
Yes.
you can, I may have mispronounced your name, so just do it and tell us why you're here and how your, the invitation, not the invitation, how your experience has been serving you so far in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay, so we are here from Bonnier Human Rights Organization in pursuit of the right of self-determination. Brother Rasta has just mentioned about the right of self-determination. We are a colony, part of Holland, and we have lost our small autonomy we had in 2010. And we are in St. Kitts for the conference they had in June of the OECS, Organization Eastern Caribbean States. And we met your Prime Minister, and we met all the leaders of the Eastern Caribbean. And
Head of government?
Yes, the heads of government. Mm-hmm. And that's why we are in these parts, seeking support at the United Nations for the relisting of Bonnier. on the non-self-governing territories of United Nations. That's where small islands like ourselves, before 2010, we had an average of 12,000 people. Now we have double that amount, and that's because our borders were open for European Dutch to come to Bonaire. And this is our issue. We become a minority, and there's lots of injustice in terms of the demoting the local heads of organizations like governmental organizations, hospitals, schools, airports, various governmental organizations, and putting Dutch Europeans in their place.
Okay.
So that's a very, very upsetting the situation we have on Bonaire. But I like my colleague, Mr. Finis.
Mr. Finis,
Yes.
the mic is yours. Welcome to the studios of WINNFM.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Ras. And nothing happens by accident. Everything is said, as Ras was explaining, of emancipation. Yes, it's a hard process and long walk to those ultimate goals
Yes.
of us. So we, contrary to the Caribbean, to the Eastern Caribbean, we were hidden from the world. Nobody heard about our island.
On the issues.
And the issues that everybody, the Dutch, I will say today lied, because normally I won't use that word, but today I will use that word.
They lied.
They lied.
Plain and simple.
Yes, they lied to the world that we were equal to them, that we were free. And so the whole Caribbean think that we are Dutch. Those islands are Dutch. They are so advanced. That's like they are rich as the European Dutch. So that's not true. All of that was true because they had the only say in the international arena, because they represent all the islands in the international platforms. They have the international affairs on them. So no Antillean leader can speak
on your behalf
on internal issues outside that. So they control that forever. So since the born of Netherlands, they control the narrative about our island. So everybody we spoke to
gets the impression
that they want to be like us because we are rich, we are Dutch, we are European. There's nothing that we were at 2010, as my colleague Davika say, we were reversed. We had some autonomy in the Netherlands Antilles, but they still was deciding, because we are one of the hidden colonies that is not exposed, not reported by, nothing. All other colonies in the Caribbean is full of colonies still, more colonies than free countries, but they all have accountability towards the international community. Only the Dutch hide us from everyone. What is happening to us now, when they just reverse everything back from us, take all autonomy we had, all power we had, and send us to a very down as before colonial states. So
pre-colonial state.
Completely. Where you lose everything that you think is normal everywhere in the world. Even in communist states, they call, you have still democracy in some communist states. They call it communist, but there we lose everything that has to be with the civilization. So I'm going back. So
you are basically on an educational tour throughout the region.
Yes.
Asking the various heads of governments to give you representation at the UN.
Yes. Actually, we are today about our 484 day, because last year, 448 days we are out of our island.
480,
almost 1.5 years. We leave our island. In December, we went back for the holidays, but we back since January, back out of our island on this international awareness pilgrimage campaign, where we are presenting our issues. We have an international report that we have made by our international expert, United Nations expert, that is recognized by United Nations, with that report of our situation. Because I talk today, I can talk to you at the radio, but when you talk to the head of states, they will hear your side, but they will also ask
hesitant.
Yes, but they also ask the Dutch what the guy is speaking about.
Okay.
So, but we had to have some independent report assessment, and we did that. With that assessment that is recognized by the United Nations as independent and is credible. With that, we go into countries and to leaders, and that's what we've been doing. That's why we send kids now. Again.
So your reception so far has been encouraging?
Very encouraging. The first day we meet with them, the first time, no, Bonaire, never heard about it.
We know, we hear about Bonaire in the context of the ABC Islands.
Yes.
Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
Yes.
What's the proximity to those islands geographically?
Like St. Kitts
And Nevis.
Station, or a little further.
Okay.
It's 50 minutes with the plane, 10 minutes, 50 minutes.
So the
from each other.
status with Aruba and Curacao, how does it compare to Bonaire? The
Aruba-
status compared to you
Yes.
because they're lumped together.
Yes. Curacao and Aruba remain with some autonomous.
Yeah.
They have a prime minister. They have a parliament.
They have their own legislature.
But still, yeah, they have their own legislation, but still Holland possess powers of them to nullify everything when they do it.
Okay.
But we don't have nothing.
You don't have anything at all?
Nothing at
No
all.
elections?
No, we have elections, but the elections...
You have a local council?
Yes, we have a local council. This is the trick. We had that already in the Netherlands until it's together with the other Curacao, Aruba, the other islands from the Netherlands until we had that our local government that took all local decisions and make local laws. We also was part of a Netherlands until its parliament was like a federation type, where we had seats in the parliament in the Antillean parliament. We had minister. We were.
You don't have that now?
No, we were very advanced at that time. You had that. What they did, they take all that away in 2010 from us. All that system we were in, we take it.
So there was no democratic process at play in this entire thing?
Not democratic because change of constitution should be determined by the people. That is a right of a people, self-determination. That is a higher level of emancipation. When we're talking, where you decide as the people back. So, but that was at the time you have to do it at least with a vote. But that vote was denied to us to vote. They push on in this. They impose that in the status. I had to fight, for example, for a referendum. Because it's a long story, but I had to fight for a referendum because we were put in the state without our people had a say to say yes or no. So I end up to have a protest. We did a lot of actions, but they weren't listening. At the end, I end up to make a big protest. A protest where I said I'm going to sacrifice and take them on, the whole system, because it's a government and Dutch, all of them together that. I went and said, I'm going to protest till we get a referendum. So I end up, we did a walk around the island, say we want a referendum, a 24-hour emancipation walk, walk for freedom, we call it too. And then we start protesting in November 2014, at the day of the uprising, that was an uprising in Bonaire in 1834.
Yes.
We recall that because our history was never told.
It's linked to the Haitian Revolution, 1834.
Yes. So we in recalling that, we march again for our freedom. We had to march again and protest. And then I say I will stay here at the government office till we get a referendum for our people, because we cannot continue forward in the state where our people has no say and we didn't decide on it as a people. So I end up there about 8 months, sleeping there. People bring me food. It was a big thing on the island because I refused to go till we get the referendum. So more people come to help me, some go. But I end up for over almost 8 months till they give up.
Interestingly, we've never heard about these things. So the news coverage, they actually control the news outlets?
Definitely.
So we never heard about these things?
No, this is our problem. We are in the Southern Caribbean. We speak Papiamento, and the other official language is the Dutch language. So there's a big Caribbean Sea between us and the Eastern Caribbean. That's how I explain it, and the language barrier too. So this news didn't cross. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
International sphere. So you're actually out here, as I said, educating and advancing the cause.
Yes. So that is where the referendum and then they give up. After 8 months, they say granted us a referendum. Then I stopped the protest and went home.
So we will get some result at a level. We're going to have to take a short pause to a commercial break. But in the meantime, we're speaking with Ms. Davika Bisasa Shah, and she's the president of the Bonaire Human Rights Organization. And this is a phrase I use, her partner in crime. would be Mr. James Finesse, and he's the vice president of said organization. They're here on the invitation of Vasculonji. We're going to take a pause, and we'll be right back. So please stay tuned with us. See you on the other end.
Flow Road to Home is life made simple. One affordable plan that gives you internet at home and mobile on the go. Constant connection anywhere and everywhere, wherever your plans may take you. Switch today and get double the data on your mobile with 60 gigs plus unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube and 400 megabits per second internet speed. Flow Road to Home internet and mobile plan. Your non-stop connection. Visit a Flow store or discoverflow.co for more info. Conditions apply.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Basta! We run things, things are on we. Basta! Basta! Living color, do it differently. Basta! Basta! Large and in charge, like for the party. Basta! Basta! We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
7 flavors, best taste, Buster, bolder, better, better. Pick your color.
We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
Buster, live in full color.
Basta!
Once again, good morning and welcome back to Voices. My name is Socrates, and we have in the studio with us Vasculonji and the president of the Bonnier Human Rights Organization, along with the vice president of said organization. We're going to have Vasculonji lead into this segment. Right? Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I'd just like to state what Granny said. You know, we have to stop the killing because we have a nation to build. What Granny said, we are ground in here basically with brothers and sisters come within arms that outlining their situation there in Bonnier. It's no different from us. Even if they're from a different...
I would say it's different. We have the power of the vote. They can't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, trying to show you, Brother Sacco, they're going through the same struggle that we've been through.
We would have
before.
been through.
Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to show you and our people, that our struggle is one and the same. Now, hear this. This is the 400th anniversary where St. Kitts was colonized by England. Right? This is 2023, right? This is the 400th anniversary of the settlement of St. Kitts. This is the 200th anniversary of the Monroe Doctrine. This is the 189th anniversary of emancipation.
Emancipation, yes.
204 years since the Portuguese uprising here in St. Kitts. 88 years since the Bucklers uprising. 71 years since adult suffrage. That's when we started to vote, in 1952, right? 71 years since adult suffrage. 219 years since the Haitian Revolution. 397 years since the native people was wiped out at Bloody Point, here in St. Kitts. And then we had Crown Colony government in 1882. And now here's where we at, where we say that we are so-called independence. But my position is that what Granny said, it's a Mickey Mouse independence. And we are saying now, we have to be very serious in terms of taking care and being responsible and make a serious determination for people to move forward in this geopolitical situation that we're in. And we are saying that we are calling for the unification not only of African people globally, but all oppressed people within the world. that we have to unite with them because their struggle is our struggle. So we are saying, we are making a call to our people that at this particular juncture in our development, we are calling for unity right here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. This political divide, this Westminster system that have been put on us by England have to go. You have to make a decision whether you want unity amongst our people or you want to be divided.
What is the movement behind all that?
The movement behind all of that is the African Consciousness Movement. We are saying that this PAM, Labour, UNEP, unity, what happened before, got to go. We have to become one people and on one page.
I understand the desires, but I'm saying, what is the movement? What is the tangible? What are the tangible forces? What do you see that's relevant, as actually happening on the ground?
Well, we are making this motion as the African Consciousness Movement. We are saying to our people, we have a program, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And I'd just like to say what Marcus Garvey said. A people without knowledge of its past is like a tree without root. We are saying that we have the 7 principles of Kwanzaa.
We are functioning based on what you outlined as a people without the relevant knowledge.
But
the Westminster system that you described, that has to go. How do we do away with it? The education of our people, or the miseducation of our people, is what caused the current situation. We have the folks from Bonnie speaking about their plight. Okay, I understand what you're saying, but how do we help them? You're saying collectively, the education, the information has to be out there, relevant and in our faces. If not, it becomes like just another cliche statement, etc., etc. We have been here before discussing this. What are the tangible movements on the ground?
I hear what you're saying, Brother Sacco. We are saying, on this 189th anniversary of independence, right, we are launching...
Of independence?
No, emancipation, right? We are saying this is the program, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. We call it our manifesto, right? Monday, Umoja means unity. To strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Umoja means staying together. Tuesday, Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves, instead of being defined, named, created for, and spoken for by others. Kujichagulia is saying who we are and who we will be, and not letting others say for us. Ujima, collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our community together, and make our sisters and brothers' problems our problems, and to solve our problems together. Ujima means working together and helping each other. Ujama, this is very important, right? That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, cooperative economics. We are launching the United Layamiga Cooperative, where the cooperative will be dealing with food, clothing, and shelter, right? So what we're going to do with the United Layamiga Cooperative, that we have to follow the rules of the cooperative here in the Federation. And we are setting up the executive body. We want people to get involved so we could set up the executive body. All these things are in motion. So once we get the executive body set up, then we move forward in terms of dealing with food, clothing, and shelter. But the first thing on the agenda is food, because we realize, and people have been discussing it in different media circles, that other ethnic groups are dominating our economy. So we are saying that the first thing we're going to focus on is feeding ourselves. Ujama, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Ujama means buying from each other. Then we have near purpose, which is Friday, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Near means making our people as great as they can be. Kuumba, which is Saturday, to do always as much as we can, in the way we can, in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it. Kuumba means thinking of ways to make our community better. And the last one, faith, which is Sunday. To believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Iman means believing in ourselves and the worth of our people. So that is our agenda, Brother Socrates.
Okay. Rosemary up there, good morning. Amber and the gang over there in Anguilla. By the way, President Mrs. Shah and Vice President Finesse, this platform is viewed around the world. So we're actually live online. So you have a chance to reach out from this platform to speak to the audience and really try to get your cause some attention. So you would have left Bonnier how many days ago?
484, I think, exactly. So yes, we have been in the Latin American countries and also in Caribbean. For that, on the road with our message of raising awareness and then seeking solidarity and support too for our cause, our case that we want to present in the United Nations.
Have you collected some petitions, some signatures from the various heads of government?
No, the heads of governments are from the independent nations.
Yes.
They in the United Nations, they have one vote. And
Yes.
they have the power, and the General Assembly is the only democratic institution of the United Nations.
Yeah.
So there, everybody is equal, and there is where we make a chance. We can have a chance at this.
But they would have to stand up at the UN against Holland.
No. What we're doing
Holland is a member.
Yes, Holland is a member.
Yeah.
What we're doing is it happened in 2013 with the French Polynesian Islands in the Pacific.
Yeah, the French Polynesian Islands.
French Polynesian Islands. There were a situation as us because normally it's internal matter from Holland, actually. It was internal matter from France, so nobody can get involved. But this is the only, avenue
Yeah.
we have to save our people because we will disappear. If nothing happens, we will disappear. That's what the statistic is. By 2017, we will reduce on 40% of the population. By 2030, we will be less than 1/3. In some decades, we will disappear as the Bonaeren's people. But that's why, for us, we had to do this, and we're doing is sacrificing everything, losing everything.
So it's a matter of survival of your
yes.
ethnicity.
Yes. Actually, the Bonaeran people to survive this. Otherwise, if I didn't speak
extinct.
to you today, we will disappear without even
Yeah.
nobody knows. Even in the Caribbean, what happened
We
to
don't
the
know.
Bonaeran people. So this is very serious, very urgent, and it's a criminal at the highest level.
Yeah.
Because they control the narrative, they control the news, the information. Even the people in Holland, they hide it from this. So this is very heroic what we've been doing to get this out of our island.
You
So
also mentioned the aspect of the Bonaire being populated by other people
Yes.
who would have the right to vote on any issue. So you are roughly 12,000 strong as a population.
yes.
And currently, how many people are living there from other?
It double.
It's doubled?
It double, but in the doubling, we become a minority.
You become the minority.
Not already.
Obviously.
So any
obviously.
issues of voting for your interest would be you'll be outvoted, you're
Yes.
outnumbered, etc.,
Yes,
etc.
that
This
will
is by
say.
design.
Yes.
That is very.
After the arrival of a Dutch European, they can come and live on Bonaire without any necessary documents, and they can vote in 90 days.
Yes. And
So
our
as that, but so what you're saying is that once they come to Bonaire, within 90 days they could vote.
Yes,
They have the power to
yes.
vote.
Only with an address where they live in, they can register in the registry, and so they become a citizen and they can vote.
have all the rights of us and Bonaire to vote, but they maintain their rights they have in Europe. So they actually living like kings on our island, where our people have
At the
to
bottom
push,
rung of the ladder.
Push them. Everything raised. They raised the worst thing they raised is our land taxes. Land taxes, because what we have in the Caribbean is what inherited from our parents that had land. So we built our own houses, I think, also in this island, ourselves with our friends and brothers, and we built our own houses. What they did, they raised the taxes not 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time,
The
5
property
times.
tax.
Not they didn't
Land.
double
The land.
it. The land
Land
tax.
tax
The
itself.
land tax. Land tax. I gave you one example. There's a lot of examples. I gave you one example to understand what stage we are. They raised it with 800 to 1,000%, not 2, 3, 4, 5
800
times
to 1,000%.
Yes.
taxes. So what people start losing. Let's say the people who live in underwater,
The one
our
from the coastal
fishermen,
region, yeah.
yes, they have to sell it or lose it because the taxes get so high. I know now, I give you just example. I know now of friends that had houses because you mortgage to build a house when you
Yeah.
have good work. But now you have to take a loan to pay the land tax. Can you imagine? The yearly tax, you have to take a loan to not lose this land. That is happening to us. The families who had plantations, they're now coming with other lands or laws to try to take all the things. So they are a very high level of take us.
It's to force you out.
Force me out literally with our population, but also taking what we have from
But
us.
once they force you out, they claim it on.
No, they have it. You can. Somebody can. Some people can keep it because they have to sell it, have to lose it with the tax. So
But
it is happening at this moment.
But what happening? That is gentrification, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
what happens is the same thing happening in every community within the United States, especially in New York, that the landlords are raising the rent so high, so that the people they can't afford it so have to move.
They have to move.
And then they buy up all the
But that's
buildings.
what they do with these folks.
Like, exactly, it's the same thing. So what I'm trying to show you, Brother Socrates and our people, that when it comes to indigenous people and oppressed people, that the colonialism policy is the same to all of us, regardless of your ethnicity. You see what I'm saying? And your race. So what I'm trying to show our people is that the only power we have as a people and as an oppressed people is unification, because we have no nuclear weapons. So unity is very important. That's why we're calling for unity of our people right here at home, because that is the only thing that could keep us together as a people instead of this divide and rule system. So I'm saying unity is very important, and when you open up the phones, I want our people to pledge for the unification of our people here at home and throughout the globe.
Okay. Before we go to the phone lines, we have to pause for another commercial break. We have to go downtown and give Caesar his due, and we'll be right back.
It's TDC for me, TDC for we. Neighbor, partner, your family. The best is yet to come, believe me. Moving forward, moving with. Hey, TDC serve the nation with the best customer experience. TDC, you are the one for we. Happy anniversary.
Together we succeed, building on strong community, pressing onward to our destiny. One love, one family. Together we succeed. Let the whole world see. Yes, this is 50.
Flow Road to Home is life made simple. One affordable plan that gives you internet at home and mobile on the go. Constant connection anywhere and everywhere, wherever your plans may take you. Switch today and get double the data on your mobile with 60 gigs, plus unlimited WhatsApp and YouTube, and 400 megabits per second internet speed. Flow Road to Home internet and mobile plan. Your non-stop connection. Visit a Flow store or discoverflow.co for more info. Conditions apply.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better
It's 11:43 in the studios of WINNFM 98.9. It's another beautiful day. It's the 19th day of July, and we have with us in the studios of WINNFM 98.9 very important people with a very important story about their survival, their concerns. We have the president and vice president of the Bonaire Human Rights Organization. And it was not a planned interview, but they're here. I think we have to give them some airtime to explain exactly why they've traveled out of the country and what they want the world at large to know. I'm going to revert now to the president, Davika Bisasa Shah,
Yes.
to tell us more. In the break, you were speaking about Mr. Finesse, his ethnic makeup and stuff like that.
Yes.
How it's very important based on what's happening in Bonaire and what you're hoping to attain.
Yes.
So if you can give us that within the next 5 minutes,
Yes,
we'll
sure.
open up the phone lines after, but just articulate to us so we have a better understanding
Yes.
of what we're trying to achieve.
See.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so around 2012, or let's say before 2010, we had the Netherlands Antilles Constellation, where we had our own autonomy on Bonaire. The island Bonaire had their own leadership and internal rule. After 2010, the Netherlands Antilles broke up, and Bonaire was embedded in a Dutch constitution without equal rights. And many injustice and human rights violations occur at that time, including the open border where European Dutch can occupy our island. So we had 12,000 people, and today, 2023, we have 22,000. The difference of those people are European Dutch, and they can come to our island and vote within 3 months in our local elections and any elections. And the local population of 12,000 is a mixture of Indians, like the Orinoco and the Yucatan area, like you have the Indians in these parts, and mixed with African descent. So we have a mixture and indentured people before 2010, and the Dutch decided to come. Now we become a minority on our own island. The idea to what we are doing, it's over 400, almost 500 days on the road, is to lobby with leaders from Latin America and the Caribbean, explaining the injustice that's happened on Bonaire, but also providing them with a report done by United Nations experts that they came and assessed the situation. And so we are now, we're encouraged by United Nations C24 Special Committee to be put on the list of non-self-governing territories. When to do that, you have to get a consensus from your regional islands. And for us, we are south to the Caribbean, so we are close to Venezuela, 50 miles from Venezuela. And so we're close to the Latin American countries. And that's one of the things why our island is very attractive to the Dutch, because then they can have a sovereign in the Caribbean Sea, 50 miles out of Venezuela. So you know what that is. They expanded our airport. So our airport is now military equipped, and all those injustices happening on the island, to be able for regional neighbors to help us. We have given to most of the prime ministers in the Eastern Caribbean, or all of them, our report, and also Latin American countries, so that they can be able to put forward our case in the United Nations General Assembly.
That's saying a lot in terms of the struggles and the attention you want to bring to your cause. For those who may...
But a second one, how big is Bonaire?
Bonaire is the second biggest island in the Netherlands Antilles. Curaçao is the biggest. We are about 300 square kilometers, so we have a big island. One of the issues of the island is that, coming back to the emancipation, after the emancipation, what the Dutch spitefully did, because they couldn't make our forefathers work for free anymore, emancipation, they divided the island in big parts and sell it to the Europeans. So the big part of island was sold to private persons. So that's another fight of reparations to get our land back from them. So we have a big island, but owned by They sold it in an auction. They auctioned our land, like they auctioned us before the slave. They auctioned our land. So we have a land, but it's in hand of.
Yes, to understand it, Curacao and Aruba have almost 200,000 people, but Bonaire only have 12,000. And Bonaire is the second largest island.
Second largest, but the lands are in the control of the
No.
The Europeans,
Many Europeans.
the enslavers, the colonizers.
I asked about tourism. What's the employment like? What are the jobs to be had there? What's the structure?
Yes, the structure is like most Caribbean islands. A big part is tourism. We are a dive destination. Yes, one of the world top dive destinations.
Besides aquatic sports? Okay.
Yes, you can search it. We're in the top 5 in the dive destination. So that's a big part of the major
economy.
That was our economy, but since the takeover,
they control it.
Yes, all our local businesses were pushed out by laws, by taxes, by everything. So
high taxation.
All locals lose everything, and then they have now Dutch tour guides. Can you imagine when the cruise ship stops?
Dutch tour guides taking
tour
the jobs
guides,
that
yes. You enter the island like you have here a port, and there's a market. The market is all white with 2-3 people maybe from the island. The street owners, the rock in it is white. I'm saying white today to understand it.
The vendors.
Yes, they are European. So actually they take our
so
island
they
over.
actually take over the tourism industry.
Yes, take over all our businesses, all our livelihood.
Wow.
So this is terrible, but we can explain it in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. This is
there are people who are listening.
Yeah, so
I have a friend in New York. She says so sad to hear. They ask people who are listening.
Yes, actually, tourists Americans used to come to Bonaire because Bonaire was we are very friendly. They come because they were friendly people, nice people, and then now they're coming. Where are the Bonaireans?
But they're not recognizing it because
they don't recognize
change
anymore. The Bonaireans
okay.
disappear. They disappear to the back. They push them far away back. We have to work 2-3 jobs to survive. Many people believe we are Dutch. No, they gave us a Dutch passport. They gave us a Dutch nationality, but we are not Dutch. They gave us a domination called Caribbean Dutch. And the Caribbean
designation, Caribbean Dutch.
Yes,
so that says what?
Yeah, that says the system of apartheid they had invented in South Africa is again because we are everything they call Dutch, but no have Dutch rights as the Dutch themselves.
So as
we are
Caribbean Dutch, you have second class citizens.
But not only that, they decide what kind of rights we can have.
May I just interrupt one important thing about the education system quickly? Our education system was first taught from Papimento to Dutch. Now it's instructed by Dutch. So they made a law to be our schools are now educated in Dutch.
It's apartheid.
And you're not allowed to speak Papimento. This is our native
you're
language.
You're not allowed to speak
not
in
even
the 21st
in the playground.
century.
Yes.
But Socrates, let me make this point that you're talking about Dutch, Holland.
Yeah.
Right? The Boers in South Africa is from Holland.
Yes,
it's
of course,
same thing as apartheid. So you see the link.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
They introduced it back to the Caribbean. That's why I say back in the Caribbean.
What I'm saying is the same
The
thing
Boers
that
were
took
Dutch.
place in South
Yeah.
Africa.
Yes.
That where you had the Bantustans, where you're talking about how they give all the land to private people. That's how they had it in South Africa with the Bantustans. Not only that, African people in South Africa couldn't speak their own language. They had to speak Afrikaans, which is the Dutch language.
Chris Collins up there saying he's up in the UK. I tell you, we have a wide relationship of yours. Holland ain't so nice. Well, that's an understatement.
A
friend of mine, Chris Collins, he's a photographer, radio personality up in Sheffield in the UK. And he just wrote, because listen, Holland ain't so nice.
Ain't so nice. It was very well hidden, this story. But we break through with it. We break through. I survived 3 assassination attempts.
You survived 3 assassination attempts.
I lost everything. I was a banker.
They put him in jail.
I was a banker. My job was a management level. I had to abandon everything, stop everything to try to save what they can save of this. So nothing.
Your culture and your ethnicity.
Yes, and my people and whatever I have to save, because if I continue in our normal life, I can do this. Nobody can do this because everybody who try to speak up will be eliminated. Yes, eliminated from any way.
Read
or
about
other.
these things. We see them in distant lands, etc. But we have live here with us people who would have lived that experience. I am so sorry.
But
the question is what can we do to help?
Well, I would just say one quick thing, just like our page, Bonaire Human Rights Organization. We have a Facebook page, or you can go on our website and find more information.
It's on the card here, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, Askolonji, how would you like to help these folks?
No, but basically, you see, that's why I brought them. I mean, it was really amazing. What happened is that the comrade here told me that she passed by the store and she saw the information and she decided that she had to come back. And I met her yesterday. But what I'm trying to show you about the Socrates and our people, now you hear this information they're revealing to us. The brother said he had 3 assassination attempts. And every time we struggle to free our people, these people want to liquidate us, then Miss Henry going to come on and say, it's our fault. Because I heard her yesterday, you know, on a different program, saying, what is happening to our people is our fault. So I'm saying, I will agree to a certain a point, but our people was indoctrinated to be that way. But she don't consider that part. So I'm saying to our people, you're hearing something here that is actually taking place in this time. We have the evidence. We have the people here telling us about their story and their struggle. So I'm saying to our people, this thing is real. And I'm saying to our people, if we don't get serious about the liberation of our people, the generation of our people yet unborn, we have to secure their future. That's all I have to say, Brother Socrates.
Just one quick thing. We are also coincidentally met him, but we also part of his group. We are associate members of CARICOM Reparations Commission.
Okay.
And so we also met Queen Carla, Mother
Carla Astafan, yeah.
Yeah, we met her when we were here in St. Kitts a few weeks ago.
That just happened because we have been struggling for years, and they recognize us. They said they recognize our
cause,
that our advocacy, outstanding advocacy, and fight for the rights of our people, because we have no representation. We have no representation nowhere in this world, not even in Holland or somewhere that our.
So to a very large extent, you are the hope.
Yes.
You two here
yes.
are the
yes.
hope.
Definitely.
Traveling. How do your cause get funded?
Oh, that's always the question. We just received special consultant status of the United Nations ECOSOC.
So is there a grant that supports that?
No. This has just happened. So we are people. What we do, first and foremost, we have like fundraising. We have barbecues and car wash to be able to fund the report. The report was over $30,000. So that money was
raised by self-funded people who donated to the cause.
Yes, because in the referendum, he's talking about 66% of the Bonairean people rejected the Dutch status. So that 66% of people support us and give us donations. And the other part is that a lot of our private funding ourselves, we fund it. And the third thing is that we have a facility that 2 of us built in the central of Bonaire. It's a recreation facility, and the government refused to fund it. So what we did, we rent it out to local businesses. So we have like a strip mall, and from that rent also
generate some income for your travelers.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's quite a nice cook-up.
Self-funded.
Self-funded, yes.
Self-funded from various things. But we do have some Dutch people who support us, some people that live on the island forever, who likes the Bonaire, people who likes the lifestyle and object to the Dutch invasion, as they would call it, the old Dutch peoples, and also some Americans also support us. So we do get one-time donations from here and there.
Okay, so if there were, I want to ask a hard question. You're obviously the president of this organization, but if they were successful with your assassination, what would that impact be on the people who are depending on you? Because we look to leaders, and we put our faith and trust in leaders. But when the leaders are taken out, it helps to scatter the people. So I'm asking if they were, it's a hard question. It's a reality.
I'll give you a second to think. I just tell him he's the president of Noske Bonera Back Foundation. So his fight was the one who started this. We as a sister organization came after to support him in the international community. But his organization is We Want Bonera Back. It's a local organization. That's why they tried to kill him, because I am not in that part.
Okay.
He is in that part. Give you a minute to think.
Yes, that is what I understood too as a strategy. Maybe I try to do it fast. I thought about this as I see before what they do with the other people who try that in the Netherlands until a couple of those leaders was assassinated. Nobody knows in the Caribbean. Betico Cruz, who fought for Aruba, was assassinated. Aruba fought for independence, never got independence because the leader was assassinated. Nobody knows how and what. It disappeared. In Curacao was recently, another one was Wills that fought for independence. He won the election. He was ready for, and then he got shot, killed. Till up to date, nobody, the courts cannot see who killed it. So we have a history in the islands that everybody, by design that everybody who's moving towards that direction will be stopped, and that at the end even assassinated. So I thought about it differently.
But
I said,
tell him about the king. The king.
We're gonna have to address that when we come back, because we actually do for the midday newscast. No. We have to get information up, but we do have to pause on the midday newscast. So we will be back with the public, or viewers and listeners, after the midday newscast. Thank you, guys.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
When it comes to the important things in life, your health, your education, your choice of a life partner, and of course your insurance provider, only the best will do. Caribbean Alliance Insurance is the only insurance company in the Eastern Caribbean with an A excellent rating. We have a robust 3-tier reinsurance strategy that protects our policyholders from multiple catastrophes, even if they occur in quick succession. We spread our risks over 18 territories, ensuring minimal impact to individual territories when a disaster strikes. We provide an excellent claims experience. Claim settlement is usually between 24 to 48 hours. Our A excellent rating means that you are more secure with us. Contact us for motor, property, marine, public liability, employer's liability, and other policies. Delisle Walwyn, people you can trust. Local agent for Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Tomorrow secured.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WINNFM Midday News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yolana Weeks.
For top stories, St. Kitts Nevis presents first voluntary national review to the United Nations.
The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force welcomes 2 crime scene vehicles to its fleet.
Director of the Antigua and Barbuda Meteorological Services, Dale Destin, says the Caribbean is not experiencing a heat wave, but temperatures are sometimes exceeding record levels. BVI Premier addresses specific needs of overseas territories at Caribbean Development Bank meeting. Internationally, a builder and fundraiser rallies people across Senegal via crowdfunding websites to build wells in northern Senegal. Now the details. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis presented its first voluntary national review, VNR, at the United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development in New York on July 18th. A voluntary national review assesses and presents a country's national progress and challenges encountered in implementing the United Nations 2030 Agenda, including achieving its 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDG. Minister of Energy, the Honourable Conress Maynard, presented work the Federation has been doing to fully implement the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, a plan of action to improve 5 main pillars: people, prosperity, planet, peace, and partnership. During the meeting, Minister Maynard, in a 10-minute presentation, focused on the progress and challenges of SDGs 6, clean water and sanitation, 7, affordable and clean energy, 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, 11, sustainable cities and communities, and 17, partnership for the goals.
Our country continues to grapple with increasing saltwater contamination of groundwater supplies due to sea level rise and decreasing aquifer recharge. Desalination is identified as a long-term solution, and work has commenced towards the installation of our first publicly owned desalination plant donated by the United Arab Emirates. Groundwater exploration continues with new well drillings to supply an additional 500 to 800,000 gallons per day to underserved communities in the near term. On Nevis, the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, has sponsored a USD 11 million water enhancement project, resulting in substantially enhanced water storage and distribution capacity. Manufacturing, on the other hand, has declined over the last 10 years due to high energy costs, intense market competition with low-cost producing countries, and the severe impacts of COVID-19. Consequently, we are introducing a revised manufacturing strategy which targets the establishment of, among others, a factory to build solar panels to facilitate low-cost energy-saving options while providing employment for those displaced from the manufacturing sector in recent years. Climate change poses an existential threat to St. Kitts and Nevis, being the smallest independent state in the Western Hemisphere. As a small, vulnerable, open economy island state, we are identified among the world's top 60 countries exposed to risk of mortality from 2 or more hazards, with an estimated 40% of the population considered at risk. Additionally, St. Kitts and Nevis is among the top 40 countries with significant economic risks from 2 or more hazards, with a GDP risk estimated at 65%. The reality is that many urban dwellings are not yet resilient to hazards, and there are still citizens who cannot afford proper housing. The government is therefore focused on making housing more accessible by specifically creating access to affordable housing for public servants, in addition to the over 2,300 social and low-income housing units that have been distributed across both islands. In addition to duty-free concessions for first-time homeowners, a developer has been approved to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over the next 4 years.
Following the presentation, the floor was open for questions to the St. Kitts and Nevis delegation. Representatives from St. Lucia, Morocco, Switzerland, and the Major Group for Children and Youth asked for specific clarification on goals and initiatives of St. Kitts and Nevis in achieving the 2030 agenda. St. Lucia asked for insight into how St. Kitts and Nevis will achieve the integration of SDGs in medium-term planning.
In developing the plan, we placed a strategic focus on our vulnerabilities, gaps, and risk, especially those relating to external shocks and climatic phenomena, as well as the shortcomings in SDG implementation that were identified in our VNR. The targets to be achieved under the plan have therefore been synergized with the targets of the 2030 agenda in order to achieve acceleration. In addition, we continue to work with line ministries, civil society, and the private sector to promote alignment of their strategic plans, programs, and budgets with the SDGs. The unavailability of SDG-specific statistics has presented a challenge in monitoring the SDGs and conducting analyses and data mining for effective decision-making, and therefore can present a roadblock to acceleration.
Aaron Manners, Director of the Public Sector Investment Program. Morocco inquired about strategies to strengthen social protection systems and reduce poverty.
We have adopted a whole-of-society approach to address poverty and inequality with active participation and collaboration with the private sector and civil society. Key interventions to date include MEND, RISE, Poverty Alleviation Program, which all assists poor and low-income households with cash support, investments in health and education, and access to social services. Another key intervention in our federation in breaking the cycle of poverty is the provision of adequate housing, of which an estimated 2,300 households have benefited. That's approximately 20% of the households, according to our last census over the last 2 decades. Our recent project we coined Elevate targets the unemployed and at-risk youth with mentoring, entrepreneurship, and skills training to enable them to become empowered citizens who can contribute to our decent work and prosperity agenda. And we welcome partnerships with our regional and international partners in the form of technical assistance, advisory, and financing so we could effectively implement our recent social protection policy and action plan.
Kevin Hope, National Consultant for the Voluntary National Review. Switzerland asked for key recommendations on how promoting renewable energy can enable a just transition from fossil fuels.
Energy transition for us is not just for better electricity tariffs, but for sovereign energy security and economic prosperity in light of the current global situation. Therefore, our country is looking at how we transition to energy as a sector where we get in the business of selling affordable energy to attract new energy-intensive businesses. At present, our electrical tariffs are prohibitive for industrial growth and inhibitive to socio-economic development. Thus, given the abundance of solar energy in St. Kitts and Nevis, and if you haven't visited, I invite you to see for yourself, it is the recommendation to our citizens and investors to solarize.
Minister of Energy, the Honourable Conress Maynard. Additionally, the minister shared the efforts of institutions, SCASPA and ECCB, in the installation of solar farms and exemption on duty to import solar technology to encourage more people to transition to renewable energy. The representative from the Major Group for Children and Youth asked how St. Kitts and Nevis plans to address challenges of quality digital education, employment, and to secure the status of a secure island state.
As youth leaders, we have advocated for an increased focus on addressing the needs of the poor and vulnerable groups. We emphasize the importance of active participation and engagement with government representatives and policymakers in the design and implementation of SDG-related interventions. We believe by including youth voices in these processes, we can ensure that the concerns of marginalized groups are effectively addressed. While both youth and the government agree that more can be done to engage our youth, there is also a recognition of the significance of structured youth involvement at the national level. For example, the National Sustainable Development Coordination Committee. We believe that such structured involvement ensures that youth perspectives are considered and integrated into decision-making process. The government have been making significant attempts to address digitization and prioritize, like including educating and promoting more women in IT, the improvement of the youth, as we have the Robotics Association, and providing more opportunities for creatives, and the revamping of the STEM to STEAM for our youth. Also having me here as a youth representative and a member of the UN Youth Advisory Group, these strategies are aimed at rectifying historical inequalities and empowering marginalized groups in shaping the sustainable development agenda of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Nikira Nichols, the Federation's representative to the United Nations Youth Advisory Council. The major group for children in their remarks also recommended youth engagement and leadership in the Federation's National Sustainable Development Coordinating Committee. The delegation also included Sheralita Shez-Dor Tyson, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sustainable Development, and Donala Laplace, Communications and Research Officer in the Ministry of Sustainable Development, et al.
A ceremony was held at the Police Training School in Bastille on Wednesday morning, July 19, 2023, for the commissioning of 2 vehicles, specifically for the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force Crime Scene Unit. Commissioner of Police, Mr. James Sutton, said the vehicles are a costly but timely addition to the police force, especially as the organization seeks to advance forensic services in the Federation.
With the purchasing of these vehicles, it has given the crime scene unit the tools necessary to do their work, and this is critical in law enforcement. These vehicles were specifically made and equipped to meet the needs of the crime scene technician as we seek to better maximize the use of technology when combating criminal activities. The availability and accessibility to proper transportation is a critical component to law enforcement success in crime fighting. Getting to the crime scene in a timely manner and collecting the relevant things of evidential value is also critical in the de-escalation of criminal acts.
For many years, police officers have been accused of abusing and misusing the organization's vehicles. Commissioner Sutton advised the officers to exercise proper responsibility and ensure that the vehicles are used for their intended purpose.
By commissioning these vehicles, it is hoped that they are driven with due care and attention. And I said, with due care and attention. They are properly maintained and service to maximize the use that they are intended for. I want to implore and impress upon all operators to play your role, supervisors as well, to ensure that these vehicles are used for their intended purpose. Treat the vehicle as if it is your own.
Commissioner Sutton also used the opportunity to express appreciation and gratitude to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis for honoring their commitment to crime fighting in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis by purchasing the 2 vehicles. The crime scene vehicles G460 and G590 were commissioned and blessed by Force Chaplain Mr. Erickson Cumberbatch.
In regional news, Director of the Antigua and Barbuda Meteorological Services, Dale Destin, says the Caribbean is not experiencing a heat wave, but temperatures are sometimes exceeding record levels. ABS Antigua has that report.
Much like the rest of the world, temperatures in Antigua and Barbuda have been on the rise. Director for the Antigua Barbuda Meteorological Services, Dale Destin, reflects on a record-breaking June.
we would have had our warmest June since 1998, and that makes it the fourth warmest on record. We also noted that we had record high nighttime temperatures. That is when we look at the mean minimum temperature during the nights of June, they were at record levels. We noted too that sea surface temperatures around Antigua and the Leeward Islands was the second highest on record for June.
One contributing factor to the rising temperatures, Destin explains, is climate change. Destin tells our newsroom, while Fahrenheit temperatures during the warmer months rarely exceed the mid-90s, the temperature alone does not paint the full picture.
When we look at a heat index where we add the element of humidity and wind, we would oftentimes see a heat index exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is when persons would often complain the most, when it is humid and it is hot. Stay in the shade as much as possible, avoid the midday sun and direct sunshine, stay hydrated as much as possible. If you can be in air conditioning, that is highly advisable.
July 2021 is regarded as the hottest month since records began. June 2023 is the hottest June on record. Rakib Aparicio reporting for ABS News.
BVI Premier addresses specific needs of overseas territories at Caribbean Development Bank meeting. 284 Media has the details.
Premier of the Virgin Islands and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, stated that the historic consultation meeting with the Caribbean Development Bank last month has brought attention to the specific circumstances and needs of overseas territories. Premier Wheatley attended the inaugural consultation with overseas countries and territories and the Caribbean Development Bank hosted by the Honorable Premier and Minister of Finance and Health of Anguilla. This meeting operated under the theme Biannual Inaugural High-Level Meeting for Transformative Action in the British Overseas Territories. Premier Wheatley explained that because of its categorization of having a high GDP per capita, the Virgin Islands is precluded from accessing official development assistance and concessionary financing, notwithstanding its heavy dependence on tourism and financial services, and of course, external threats. Honorable Wheatley stated, and I quote, "The historic consultation meeting has highlighted the specific circumstances and needs of OTs while promoting the benefits of further engagement and involvement with the bank." The Premier said the framework that was formulated by OT's heads of government in conjunction with the Caribbean Development Bank will ensure that the Virgin Islands is more resilient to the development challenges confronting the territory through accessing more avenues of financing. Premier Wheatley added, and I quote, "The Virgin Islands, like other OTs, are disproportionately susceptible to socio-economic and environmental challenges. Therefore, one of the primary objectives of the consultation was to explore viable options for obtaining funding towards achieving our development goals." The forum also allowed for high-level dialogue and advancing stronger representation for overseas territories within the structure of the bank. The CDB is optimistic that solution-based bilateral discussions would ensure that developmental strategies are employed to allow overseas territories to fully capitalize on the advantages of regional cooperation. Premier of Anguilla, the Deputy Premier of Turks and Caicos Islands, the Premier of the Virgin Islands, along with senior managers from the respective countries, attended the inaugural consultation with the Caribbean Development Bank. The government of the Virgin Islands will host the next meeting, where discussions will be held on enhanced cooperation and improvement of the bank's capacity to further support the development agenda of OT's borrowing member countries. Meanwhile, Premier Wheatley attended the Caribbean Development Bank's annual Heads of Government meeting in June, where the bank's highest decision-making body discussed climate change and corresponding mitigation and adaptation strategies. Significantly, the Virgin Islands has also assumed its rotation as governor on the bank's board.
We now bring you these international reports.
In arid northern Senegal, getting water can involve miles of walking.
That can mean a dire choice between watering farms and quenching thirst. But villages like Uru Amadi Baga are part of a wider community that exists on the internet. This well has been constructed through a crowdfunding campaign. It was organised by builder and fundraiser Mamadou Diakate.
They told us that in many villages there are water problems, but above all, these water problems impact on learning.
Diakate, who has experience renovating schools, turned to the internet, setting up crowdfunding websites to rally his fellow Senegalese.
We launch fundraising campaigns from our platforms and our phone numbers, and we explain the problem to the community. We tell the community that we want to build this school, for example, or we want to build a well, and we need X francs to do it.
As global warming intensifies, droughts have become 29% more frequent since 2000, according to UN data. Future droughts are predicted to worsen and last even longer. But village chief Yoro Bububa says the well means they now have enough to drink and water their vegetables. He adds that they could soon have surplus to sell, giving the community a much-needed economic boost. Diakate hopes that, through crowdfunding, those benefits can be brought to more communities. In a region pockmarked by donor-funded wells in various states of disrepair, his is a campaign that does not rely on external support. Diakate's group has crowdfunded 50 wells since 2020 and another 9 are under construction. And the potential to do more is huge. Crowdfunding campaigns in sub-Saharan Africa currently account for just 0.1% of the global market. Researchers at Pepperdine University last year estimated it could reach $2.5 billion by 2025, a sign of what can be achieved when we all pull together.
A brutally hot summer for the planet, and hot prices too. Is there a link? Some grocery data today suggests UK food price inflation is starting to abate. Yet there are warnings that the painful spike in food prices we've seen over the past year has been partially driven by global warming. Some have termed it climateflation. It's an argument that global warming is already contributing to our cost of living pressures. What's the evidence for it? A big driver in the spike of global food prices last year was manifestly the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which curtailed exports of grain and fertiliser from the country, which is responsible for a large chunk of global supplies of both. But the summer 2022 heatwave also led to drought across the continent and damaged crop yields, and this also likely had an upward impact on food prices. Researchers at the European Central Bank recently analysed the impact of the European heatwave on prices, carefully isolating its effect from the Ukraine invasion. This shows their estimate of the impact of the heatwave on European food inflation in 2022, around 0.7 percentage points. That's out of food inflation that hit 20%. And they estimate that by 2035, in a high carbon emission scenario, the contribution of such a summer to inflation would be higher. And in 2060, without emissions reductions, it would be higher still, possibly adding more than 2 percentage points to food inflation. And that has impacts on headline overall inflation. The researchers estimate that the heatwaves added around 0.3 percentage points to headline European inflation last year. By 2035, that's higher if emissions don't come down. And by 2060, such a heatwave could add 1 percentage point to overall inflation. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but bear in mind that central banks have a target of 2%. So this would be accounting for around half of that.
The main takeaway is that we're able to identify that historical increases in temperatures do in fact cause upwards pressures on inflation across different economies of the world. And in particular, when we start to evaluate those impacts looking forward into the future, what we find is that future global warming is going to cause persistent increases in prices, in particular food prices, but also general prices.
This does have implications for the UK. Despite Brexit, we are very much part of the wider European food system. Just under half of the food consumed in the UK comes from abroad, and around a quarter, 28%, comes from mainland Europe. Recall that we felt the impact of this dependence during the winter when freak cold weather hit Spain and North Africa, contributing to the severe shortage of salad vegetables on UK supermarket shelves. It's sometimes implied that tackling climate change is divorced from everyday concerns, that global warming is a long-term problem, while inflation and rising bills are a problem for the here and now. But science and economics increasingly suggest a connection.
To North Korea now. More details have emerged about the US soldier who's been detained in North Korea after crossing the border without authorization. US media is reporting that Travis King had previously been held in South Korea on assault charges, and the AFP news agency is reporting he spent time in a South Korean prison. US officials say he made it across the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea while on a tour of the border. It's commonly known as the DMZ. The area is one of the most heavily fortified in the world. Well, King was reportedly being escorted back to the US for disciplinary reasons before he turned around at the airport and joined the tour. A witness said he saw the soldier laughing while running across the North Korean border. Well, United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin gave a briefing on the matter at the Pentagon.
We believe that he is in the BRK custody. And so we're closely monitoring and investigating the situation and working to notify the soldiers next of kin and engaging to address this incident. In terms of my concerns, I'm absolutely foremost concerned about the welfare of our troop. And so we will remain focused on this. And again, this will develop in the next several days and hours.
And our Seoul correspondent, Jean McKenzie, has more.
This is an extraordinary story, and we're still trying to work out many of the details. But what we know is this US soldier, Travis King, was stationed here in Korea and yesterday got himself onto a tour of the North Korean border. He went to an area that's known as the Joint Security Area, which is this unarmed bubble right at the heart of the demilitarized zone, where the only thing that separates North and South Korea is a slab of concrete across the floor. So all Mr. King had to do was take one step over this slab of concrete and he was in North Korea, where he is now being detained by the North Korean military. The big question has always been, why would he do this? And we are starting to get more details. Travis King, it seems, was actually detained here in South Korea for a couple of months before this all happened for misconduct, and he was due to be transported back to the United States, where he may have faced further disciplinary action. Now, we're getting reports that he actually was taken to the airport to board his flight back to the US, but managed to escape from the airport and make it onto one of these tours. The interesting thing is that this appears to have been a very premeditated action, because these tours are not so easy to get on anymore. You have to provide your documents well in advance. We're talking 3 days, possibly up to a week. So Mr. Travis would have needed to research this, and he would have needed to plan for it. So therefore, this raises the question about whether Travis King wanted to actually go to North Korea and stay in North Korea, or whether he's hoping to return. It's going to be very interesting to see how the North Koreans respond. We still haven't heard from them. Will they try and use Travis King for information? Will they use him as a bargaining chip when it comes to negotiating with the United States? The two sides have not negotiated now since 2019. Or will the North Koreans decide that this is a headache that they don't want? And will they decide to remove the US soldier from their country?
You were listening to the Midday News on WINNFM 98.9. The headlines: St. Kitts Nevis presents first voluntary national review to the United Nations.
The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force welcomes 2 crime scene vehicles to its fleet.
Director of the Antigua and Barbuda Meteorological Services, Dale Destin, says the Caribbean is not experiencing a heat wave, but temperatures are sometimes exceeding record levels. BVI Premier addresses specific needs of overseas territories at Caribbean Development Bank meeting. Internationally, a builder and fundraiser rallies people across Senegal via crowdfunding websites to build wells in northern Senegal. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is again giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash back for free groceries with every hire purchase will be given back this coupon season. Happening now, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash back coupon to all our hire purchase customers this coupon season. Starting now until December 2023, you get absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase at our Horseman's Furniture and Appliances stores on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. So riddle this. Where can you get quality furniture and appliances at great prices with a flexible FlexPlay plan and with absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase? Riddle that. Cashback at Horseman's Furniture and Appliances on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. Riddle this. Riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is giving you over $250,000 in cashback and a chance to win free groceries for a year. Riddle that cashback. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
It's roughly 12:36 in the studios of WIN FM 98.9, and we're into the second half of today's presentation of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of the program, and we have some very interesting persons in the studio today. For those who have missed the first half, we were speaking with the president of the Bonaire Human Rights Organization, and the person of Ms. Davika Bisasa-Shaw, and the Vice President, Mr. James Finesse, also the same organization, and they were actually introduced to the program by Ras Kalunji, who needs no introduction. We will be opening the lines shortly, but first we'll do a short presentation of a clip by Marcus Garvey. Is Marcus?
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, one of the M's. And then we will open the lines to the public for your input and feedback. So, are we queued up and ready?
We end today's show with Malcolm X in his own words, speaking in 1964.
One of the first things that the independent African nations did was to form an organization called the Organization of African Unity. The purpose of our organization of Afro-American Unity, which has the same aim and objective, to fight whoever gets in our way. To bring about the complete independence of people of African descent here in the Western Hemisphere, and first here in the United States, and bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary.
I have a very basic phrase. It's called "the struggle continues." And sometimes when you feel that you have it bad, where you sit and you listen to other person's situation, is your sympathy is worst. What was revealed to us today, it's so shocking. And the fact that it's happening pretty much under our noses in this 21st century tells a lot about the media blackout and the orchestration when you have these things happening. We promise to open the lines to take our input and feedback from the public, 662-0989. And we go to the phone lines as we speak. Caller, you're live on Voices. If we miss that caller, as we say, miss one catch the other. Is there another one there? Okay, you're invited to try again, caller. We'd like to have your input on the program, 662-0989-762. And we go to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Yeah, fraternal greeting, King Son.
Respect.
Extending same to your guests.
Thank you, sir.
1964. Yeah, the purpose of the OAU was to unite and move every obstacle in our way as an African people. Yeah. Doing it with unison. With unison, that's the watchword.
Of purpose.
Unison. Tangible, touchable, fundamental, dire needed unison. And it is still the same way down to today. We cannot do it without it. The brethren and sistren from that part of the plantation.
Money.
There was an apology made for our enslavement in your neck of the woods. Wasn't it a black person the Dutch choose to make that apology? Was it one of our own kith and kin that made that apology instead of the enslaver himself or herself? We will hang up and listen, and we want to wish. You said something there a while ago, Kingston. We like to continue upon it. You said the struggle continues.
Struggle continues, yes.
And we'd like you to know that we look forward for the struggle to end the way Bob Marley's son, the gong, are singing right now. And we also like to add, as the struggle continues, victory is certain. Blessed love.
Thank you very much for that contribution. The question is posed to anyone of you to answer. Aaron's call on the line?
Yes,
Okay.
Answer?
Go ahead.
Okay, yes, the Dutch apology was not directed to us, the people of the Bonaire Island, because they're still colonizing us, and still what the Dutch apology did for them was change the status from an internal hidden fight, struggle from us, hidden issue, to continue international crime against humanity. At this moment, they continue one of the worst crimes against humanity against us. That's why we are here. So it was intended for us. It was intended to a propaganda to the world because we exposed them last year. Beginning of last year, the Dutch was saying, the Prime Minister then came and said, it was not us. When we went out in the world and told again, they had to come back and try to blur, to put a smoke screen in the eyes now to keep hiding us, but we'll not be hiding anymore.
Okay, we take another call. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon, sir. What now?
I'm giving thanks for life. And yes, my solidarity with the couple from Bonaire. My solidarity is with you folks. And like previous caller mentioned, victory is certain. My question to you is that you're on a drive and you have been out of your island for quite some time. Is there any signatory from the respective governments in CARICOM and OECS, apart from giving some assurance? Is there any commitment, a proposal that would have been tabled as a body, CARICOM and OECS, towards your struggle to the United Nations? I would like to get a response to that question by any one of you. Thanks for listening.
Yes. Thank you, caller. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your interest on our island. We really appreciate it. I'm very excited that we can get the world for the Moors and the Caribbean to hear our cause. The question to you, yes, we were present in CARICOM meetings, and they are aware of us. And also the OECS, they also are aware of us. So they are aware of us for last year and this year. They suddenly understood us. The second question is the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States put us on their last meeting, the third meeting of that was held here in St. Kitts. Bonaire was on the agenda, and then they spoke about Bonaire, and it was Foreign Minister Douglas spoke to the heads of states, and they made a communique about Bonaire, and mentioned us in support and solidarity towards the relisting of Bonaire in the non-self-governing territories.
So there's some promise?
Yes, there is.
Okay, do we have a caller still waiting?
Yeah.
Okay, caller, you're live on Voices.
Yeah. Good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the program.
And to your guest, them there. Kalunji there still?
He's here, yes.
Yes,
yeah,
I.
Okay.
Blessed Lord.
Yes, Kalunji, how is it?
I good.
Right, I heard you use a word this morning there, unity. And everybody, we all need to come together. But in 2015, the citizens of Nevis and St. Kitts, we all came together. And it took one black man to mash it up, come and break up the unity. And when you hear Bob Marley say how good and pleasant it is for unity, for all Africans to come together. And he come now and mash up the unity, and then everybody now scatter away. Now the question to the guest from Bonaire. I heard they said really that the indigenous people of Bonaire, their population get overrun by those who come in. Well, my question is this: didn't you all rise up against that?
That's what they're doing now.
Eh?
That's what they're doing now.
Right, but the damage done.
Not necessarily.
No, how
but
did that population get rise up? By citizenship? By passport? Well, if it is so, that is what's happening right here now in the Federation. That is why when questions asked to the leader of the government, how many citizen passports been sold, he don't answer. He tell you go around so I go across so. Most likely, the amount of passport been sold after before the government change and after. I believe the outside population overpopulated we, the indigenous people of the Federation. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Very valid points.
Sako, I'd like to respond to what you're talking about.
Go ahead.
You know, I mentioned unity, and I'm saying is that we have some ideas. I outline what the unity should be based on. Now, we cannot have unity amongst ourselves with the same Westminster system because it is designed to divide and rule us. We have to get a new system. African nationalism and Pan-Africanism.
Well, you know he was clearly referring to the Unity Party.
Yeah, I know that. But what I'm
with the broader scope of what you were saying, that's totally different.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to him is that unity cannot be achieved when we have a Westminster system. That is my response to that. We have to change the system. If the system does not change, it doesn't matter who goes in. We're still in the same position.
Okay, point taken. Any other callers on the line at the moment? No? I was asking if there's a caller with it. Okay.
Yeah.
We were at the point of discussing, sharing more information about the situation in Bonaire. And the question was raised by the last caller on why they didn't raise up. Sometimes it takes a while for you to organize, and there's always elements of opposition that you have to overcome. It's not as easy to form a resistance. There are too many obstacles designed to keep you back. But the fact that you guys are here, you have to be given a lot of encouragement. And we're glad you're here so we can hear your story more or less firsthand.
Okay.
We didn't know. Well, I myself didn't know until this morning. Mm-hmm. So the question as to why you didn't
okay. I like that.
Says that you just allow it to happen, and now at the last moment you're trying to do something about it. I don't think that's the case.
Okay, in 2010 is when the atrocity happened. Mr. Finney stood up in 2005 because they were talking about it 5 years before, and Mr. Finney's abandoned his banking career.
That's your gentleman, the vice president, president, sorry.
Yes, so he did it 5 years before he tried to stop it. Mm-hmm. And so we did everything what we had. Then when they didn't stop it, 5 years in 2015, he stood outside the government office and protests.
And he survived 3 assassination attempts on his life.
Yes. So we did try to stop it. And what I personally, as an individual, would have my people will ask, well, so what is your motivation? Why you come on the road? Why you give up your home and you give up your life? You sleep and you're sitting on trains and buses for over 24 hours at a time, sitting in the cheapest hotel, and all those things. Why you do that? You have a beautiful home overlooking the sea, 4 children, husband, everything. Why are you doing this? Why we're doing this? Because we are doing something about it. We don't want to wait like some countries, for example. I'm not in the authority to speak about some Caribbean countries, but we know there are some territories have not stood up and are now still colonies. They have not stood up. And it become 80 years, 90 years, 50 years. And I ask myself, if we are today, we are responsible, our generation accountable today. Mm-hmm. And I will never, ever would be able to say, I didn't do, no younger generation to come that didn't born yet would say the people didn't do anything. We did something. We started long before 2010 when they dismantled the Netherlands Antilles. We started in 2005. That's why Mr. Finney could not work at his bank anymore. He gave up his life.
How long did your strike action take?
I think 222 days.
In front of the bank?
No, in front of the government office in the town. We occupied the place and we put it all protest board over, and the people I stayed there and Christmas, New Year's, Carnival, everything.
You need to repeat that for me. How many days?
222 days, about 8 months.
Sitting on a bench.
I didn't go home and say, I will stay here till you get a referendum. And they couldn't beat it.
So people came, they gave you food.
Yes, they bring food to me.
No, not the people, the civil society, not the government. The government.
No, not the government.
The government wanted to remove me. Actually, the government wanted to remove me after 2 months because they think I come and go. I say it, but after 2 months they see I was going. Then they want to mobilize the police to remove me, and then. They gave me a warrant to leave within 48 hours, 20-something hours.
You ignore that.
Otherwise, they will remove me by forcefully. And then we call on the people in the morning, tell them they want to remove me. All the people of the island came out, and from the government office.
Support, yeah.
And the police came out without guns. The police come out without guns because they come outside. The police also come to our side, and then the government has to back off and said, no, leave him.
Well, I'm glad that the last caller asked that question as to what or why you didn't do it. That's an answer that would inspire so many people who don't have the courage and the conviction to do what you did.
Yes.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed he could do something like that.
So you gave him a job.
No, they give up at the end of about 8 months. They give up.
No, your job. You were senior banking executive or senior management in the bank, and you would have lost that. You sacrificed all that for the cause that you believe in your heart. You're still on the road doing it. Yes. So that answers the question. You did something then. You're still continuing because you believe.
We have a plan, and we were very close. Today we're sitting here because none of that could have been possible by our governments, no one. Because everyone who take the step, trying to take the step, they have been stopped, they have been assassinated, they have been
eliminated, assassinated,
they have been fired, they have lost everything. I make up my own plan that they could have went through this system, and that's why I can speak up today. And we are very close because now the Caribbean people, the Caribbean leaders know it. Everything happens to me now today. It's not a problem anymore because it's their responsibility now. I did what I could do. I cannot go to the UN. I not go to the UN and do it myself. I had to bring it to him, and then they
have to take the next step.
They're responsible for us
now. But you did all you could to bring it to the attention.
Yes.
And said that they now have to be the accountable ones.
Yes, they are doing the job because they are moving it for us now, and we are now. I mean, whatever happened to me now. It's not a problem because our case is there, our resolution is there. Everybody knows what to do. They just have to do it. That's how I can explain it now. So
I'm hearing you. I'm actually in a position of greatness. You know, and you're walking in this morning, cool and calm and casual. I had no idea that the interview would take this route. And for many viewers and listeners out there who are getting education as to what's happening over in Bonaire, I'm glad that these folks are here. We are talking with the president of the Bonaire Human Rights Organization, Ms. Davika Bissassa Shaw, and the vice president of the same organization, Mr. James Finesse, who sacrificed himself, survived 3 assassinations. You want to tell us about what one of those attempts was like, assassination attempt in your life?
Yes,
we're talking real thing.
Okay, yes. For example, when I was protesting, the governor wanted to stop me, right?
The governor?
Yes, he couldn't stop me because the people came out to
support and protect yourself.
And then he has to back up, leave me, keep protesting. And then there's some businessmen paid a guy to come shoot me in the night. Yes. And that
a businessman paid someone to come and shoot
me,
you.
to kill me in the night.
A group of businessmen.
A group of businessmen.
A group of businessmen on the island pay a guy to come shoot me in the night. That failed because I have to be here. It failed. It's a big story. So it failed.
Actually, Mr. Finesse was sleeping
in a different car.
He was sleeping in one car every night, and that night he changed the car.
And that night they came to the car to shoot me, but they find somebody else in the car to.
So they got a little unraveled, and then it was a big story. He made a case about it.
It was in the newspaper. It was presented to anybody. But anyway, they did nothing about it.
They did nothing about it.
I said no
the
problem.
Police.
The police and the government. Nobody. Nobody. It was hidden, like you said.
And we saw the weapon. The weapon was visible.
Okay. Anyway, so that's one of them. On the times. The other times, for example. we were followed. We were followed by a car and to try to
run you off the road.
Yes, the road, and then that was like a movie to become
like a car chase.
No, yeah, like a movie of James Bond.
Yes, yeah, a car chase.
Yes, and then I want to turn back because we're on a very deserted road. In the back where no lights, no people. I want to turn back. He turned on me back. Then I turn back, and then I can't drive. He comes straight on me. You know, when you're going to go by, it's right in front. Then
yes.
I said, if you're going to kill me, you're going to kill each other. So I go straight on him, like a movie, yes. This is happened a couple of times.
So you're looking at him like a head-on collision.
Yes,
He's coming
collision,
at you.
yes.
And you're heading at him.
Yes, I'm not getting away.
So he swerved?
No, he coming to me. So he come to overpower me.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to get, I come.
Let's go.
Let's
Both
go.
of us.
Yes. And he, from here to that wall, I get off the road. I saw a place, I get, and he passed me. But then he wasn't finished with me because I was turned back to go to where people are, to the town, where are people. So then I turned to go back. Then he turned back on me. He didn't want me to come back and do the same thing. He come to me there to get me in the thing. He come straight to me. I didn't move from him. I come straight to him, like in a movie. I just tell you now because I am alive. We can live. Here to there, I just kept off the road in front of it. He couldn't react, no, because we're too close to the yak. I just passed by him, and then before he could turn back, I was ahead, and I rushed back and run. It was a pump station there. I was about in front of it, run and so just jump out of the car, run into the convenience store of the pump station, telling them following. Then there was a guard there. They locked the door and they called the police. So anyway. Boom.
You're here.
Yes, I'm here, and yes.
We gotta take this call. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Yes, the king and your guest man, brother. What your experience hear me? That is disheartening, brother. Thank God you are alive today, and you were smart enough. You were thinking ahead of the assassinators to change your cars. But we had a good brother here. A very helpful brother to the community. Not a mortal in this island here could say that brother ever pull any gun after nobody and argue with nobody. He always put his hand in his pocket and help. It doesn't matter who you be. He never watching no color. And up to now, no investigation going on for that. And it's my good brother from Trafalgar, Zambo. Me and he was in class in senior school. And I never see Zambo face dent up like a car accident yet. Anyhow, we see each other, he smile. And we greet each other and touch each other. I used to go down by Zambo. At that time, go cooler than me, and he reminisce about old them days. When I was in America, I heard them say that Zambo get shot this morning. Holy man, the man come out to go do his work. And they assassinate Zambo for what? And up to now, we don't know what to kill Zambo for. Zambo never in a war with nobody. He's a peaceful man. A friendly Rasta man to kill. And that they look like in this water. Up to now, nobody saying nothing. And people know how Zambo dead and who kill him. So I just want to thank you for giving the testimony. Let people know. When you see evil people around you, observe them very closely. It's not all evil people just cause abuse. Some of them smiling, look they're decent and polite, but they're wicked demons. So thank you again, brothers.
Much appreciated. Thank you, sir. In terms of support, you're speaking to heads of government, but if folks were to want to assist you by whatever means, how do they contact you? Are there contact information you want to share with the public? Maybe like a website, something like that?
Yes, the website is on the card there. It's Bonnier Human Rights.
You articulate much better than me, so go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so our website is www.bonnierhumanrights.org. That is our website. I repeat, www.bonnierhumanrights.org is our website, and our Facebook is Bonnier Human Rights Organization. That's our Facebook page. So you could contact us either like that or by email, organization Bonaire human rights.
Thank you. We're going to take this next call before we go for a station break. Caller, you're live on Voices.
Greetings forward the King's Son.
Respect.
Now, solidarity have to come first and foremost from the masses of the people. Governmental rallying around, if it is necessary, because of government to government, we go that way. But we have to show solidarity amongst each other as a suffering, down-pressed black masses. And speaking about that, the caller before me mentioned the name of Ras Zambo Imotet Noel Heat. Now, not only he had that kind of vibes of sharing, but he was also a very black conscious person. I must say is, because we ain't seen that, you know. Ras Zamba is a very black conscious person. The ongoing black struggle was very dear to him. So therefore, his name mentioning earlier is very appropriate as we reason forwardly concerning the ongoing struggle because of what Ras Zambo stands for as a member of our race, a proud member of our race. And once again, we want to wish all of us victory in this ongoing universal struggle as a people. And we want to seal by saying victory is certain. The struggle continues and victory is certain. Blessed love.
With respect, we now pause for a few kind words from our sponsors, and we return to the open lines after.
Get ready for the biggest sales event of the year. It's the Horsewood Furniture and Appliances major sales event where we're slashing prices by 20% off on all major appliances. Are you looking for amazing deals on refrigerators, stoves, large appliances, washing machines, and even microwaves? Well, look no further. From the latest models to top brands, Horsewood Furniture and Appliances has it all at unbeatable prices. Whether you're upgrading your kitchen or replacing old appliances, this is the perfect opportunity to get major savings and save big. These deals won't last forever. This is a limited time opportunity to snag the appliance of your dreams at 20% off and get double cashback coupons with every purchase. Don't miss out. The Horsewood Furniture and Appliances major appliances sales event where quality meets affordability. Don't miss out on the biggest discounts on refrigerators, stoves, large appliances, washing machines, and microwaves. Hurry in today and make your home a major delight. Major savings, major discounts, 20% off on major appliances, plus double cash back for free groceries. Happening now at Horsewood Furniture and Appliances. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. Riddle this, riddle that. Horsewood Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is again giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash back for free groceries with every hire purchase will be given back this coupon season. Happening now, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash back coupons to all our hire purchase customers this coupon season. Starting now until December 2023, you get absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase at our Horsewood Furniture and Appliances stores on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. So riddle this. Where can you get quality furniture and appliances at great prices with a flexible FlexPlay plan and with absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase? Riddle that. Cashback at Horsewood Furniture and Appliances on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. Riddle this, riddle that. Horsewood Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is giving you over $250,000 in cashback and a chance to win free groceries for a year. Riddle that cashback. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
And the clock is ticking down 107. It's Wednesday, July 19th in the Federation of St. Christopher Nevis. And we're logged on for another episode of Voices. It's been very interesting and educational, if I may say so, for Ras Kulunji in the studio with us. And he brought us two guests that has done a lot in education and in educating us, our listeners and viewers, of to what's unfolding in Bonaire. Ras, anything you have to say?
Brother, I'll just like to say what Granny said.
Go to Granny again. Talk to me.
Yeah. Granny said, stop the killing. We have a nation to build. What Granny said, love one another. What Granny said, respect one another. What Granny said, buy local. What Granny said, support your own. What Granny said, reparation by any means necessary. What Granny said, unity by any means necessary. But
the clip you played at the top with Malcolm X, how does it factor into this?
It factors in because when Malcolm returned from the OAU meeting, he set up his organization, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, to mirror the Organization of African Unity. And as he said in the clip, that what we are about now is not only bringing our people together within the United States, but the whole Western Hemisphere.
Yes.
You know, so what I'm trying to show you that the power that Malcolm had and what he wanted to do, the forces that be, see that they had to take him out. But our brother here survived
three attempts on his life.
So what we are saying is that as the struggle continues, and as His Majesty said, we are confident in the victory of good over evil. So we are saying at this particular juncture, the African Consciousness Movement, we talk about the United Layamigan Cooperative. And the purpose of that cooperative, we want our people here locally and our people abroad to be involved in this process because we have to secure for our people and for generations yet unborn, right? That we have to clothe ourselves, house ourselves, and feed ourselves. So that is the purpose of the United Layamigan Cooperative.
And educate the next generation.
Exactly. And another purpose is that we have to re-educate our people.
That's the phrase, re-educate.
Re-educate. Because we have a colonial education. So we have to reconstruct, you understand, our society, our people, our nation, and a new dynamic where we educate our people about their own story, right? Not the colonizer's story. And that is one of the problems that we have. For instance, we have a park here in Warner Park, right? Now, look how much great sportsmen we have since we've been around here. And we can
rename
it after somebody. No, this Mr. Warner was internationally renowned as a terrorist. He liquidated the native people in this country. But we are celebrating him. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to show...
It's some of us.
Okay, but the majority of us.
Some of us.
Okay.
Those who are better informed do not acknowledge him.
Exactly.
And call him the whatever they call him.
Exactly. So what I'm saying to you, we still teach in our schools that Columbus discovered this place. Mm-hmm. And we got adult suffrage in 1952. You understand what I'm saying? I think it was 71 years since we started to vote.
But our education has been Eurocentric.
Exactly.
Tailored to a certain effect to continue the brainwashing.
So one of the main purpose about what we want to do is re-educate our people. That is very necessary.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to show you, that all these things...
Interlinked.
They're linked.
They're interlinked.
Because what? As Malcolm said, we have a common oppressor, we have a common exploiter, and a common discriminator. So no matter what your ethnicity or what race, because when you look at, you see what's happening in terms of what's happening in Ukraine, that even the Ukrainian people, some people in Ukraine believe in white supremacy, that the imperialist forces, the fascist forces, is using the people of Ukraine to liquidate themselves. Because it's a proxy war they're waging against Russia through NATO. And we know that what the NATO Treaty has said, Article 5 of the NATO Treaty, that's where you see...
You touch one, you touch all.
Exactly. So where is our treaty? Where's the African treaty? Where's the oppressed people's treaty?
Let's see if we can help our oppressed persons here. You mentioned earlier that there is a self-funding program that helps you to travel around, etc. Do you have a GoFundMe page where people want to contribute financially? Can we share the information with the public?
Yes, as on our website, and it's a donation button.
A donation
bottom.
Bottom. Okay, let's explain what it is. People
when you go on
so people can record.
When you go on our website, www.bonairhumanrights.org, soon you get at the front say on the main homepage, you see a donation button. So if you want to help us...
Button?
Button.
Because a bottom, like, I'm trying to figure out, is that the bottom of the page? Okay.
Button. No,
English is not your first language, I understand that.
You know, that is...
A donation button, B-U-T-T-O-N.
Button, yes,
right,
yes.
Okay.
And then when you just touch it,
yes.
it gives you the possibility to donate.
Options.
And
okay.
donation from any amount is welcome. And it will be yes, that you can help.
Okay.
You can help by that. Yes.
She's a bit of us in English, so give that information again for the folks who didn't quite understand him. It's very important to get the clarity.
Yes. To donate, we have a button on our Bonaire Human Rights Organization website. On the top right-hand side, you will see a button marked to donate. And you can donate $1, $2. You can do it as a small amount as you would like, and as much as you like. That will assist us in many, many ways.
Your story would have touched a lot of people. There are persons I know who are very saddened to have heard it. And there are people with big hearts, maybe small wallets, but big hearts around the world who would not hesitate. So before the program ends today, we're going to repeat that information for them. Your next stop would be where?
Well, we are going to the United Nations.
You have a phone call? Let's pause and take this caller. Caller, welcome to the program. Hello there, caller. Are you there? You're live on Voices. Okay, would have missed that caller. Please, if you can, try to reconnect with us. You will share information about your next...
Yes, the next stop is at the United Nations headquarters in New York, and we're going to meet the missions.
Direct from here?
Yes. We're going to meet with the United Nations UN missions from the Caribbean and other countries.
Okay. This is not your first stop, St. Kitts.
First stop? No, we went to Mexico.
Well, walk us through those, please, if you can, and
sure.
we'll just take an interruption if there's a call on the line. So just walk us through.
Okay. On the 14th of February 2022, we left our island, and we went to Miami, the States, and then to Mexico. We were in transit in Miami to Mexico. And in Mexico, we were greeted by an organization called the COPAL. It's a Latin American Caribbean organization that hosted us for over 4 months or a little longer, and took us to many nations, countries in the Latin America to meet the heads of governments. And they hosted us and went right through to Latin America, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Peru, various different countries we went. They are members of 38 countries in Latin America and Central America. So they took us to most of the countries.
Okay.
And they had various heads of states that visit Mexico. We were also took part in some conferences with some heads of government in Mexico itself. And thereafter, we went to Suriname. And from Suriname, we took part in the 43rd meeting of the CARICOM. That's last year in Suriname, Paramaribo. We took part where we met a lot of Caribbean leaders, and in that meeting we met very strong, prominent Caribbean leaders, including PM Gonzalez from
St.
Vincent, and also PM Motley.
Barbados.
Yes, and we also met with the Ambassador St. Lucia, the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Prime Minister of Antigua and Trinidad and Tobago. We met with almost all of the CARICOM nations. And PM Gonzalez invited us to his country, and also PM Dickon Mitchell from Grenada invited us to his country, and various other leaders invited us. And that's why we came over from Panama. We met with the Panamanian government, and we spoke to the highest level of the Panamanian government, who also in turn took us to all the various meetings and conferences in part of that Latin American country, and then Latin American area. And then we went over to the Eastern Caribbean, and we met almost all of the Caribbean leaders and the countries. Most of the information that we have, we are a little bit cannot divulge, because it's confidential. But
if it's not confidential, for those who may want to ask, how did you come about to be here in St. Kitts?
Okay, so we were invited by the leadership of your Prime Minister.
Beautiful.
And he invited us alongside his Foreign Minister, Honorable Douglas. We met him in Cuba in January. We made a small presentation for him. He was attending the World Peace Conference in Cuba in January 24th. And so there is the first time we had a contact with St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay. We appreciate that context. So, and then you were downtown walking by the Pelican Mall, and so as Kalonji's signage by his store, and that's, let's talk about that. What impacted you about the signage by his store down there?
Okay, that was a long story. Mr. Finney's had some work to do. It was around 6 o'clock. I left the hotel, and I started to walk around the tourist terminal about 6:30ish, and we are on a mission, or let me say a pilgrimage, to find indigenous things and people. So I was not very happy with the terminal. So I was trying to find the local shops and the local souvenirs. And then so I started walk, and then I found these little stores on the main street there. And I saw I looked at some of them with some souvenirs. It was very early, no one opened at the time. And then, and then I say, oh, wow. So, and then I saw these posters, and the first one that got me was the one about enemies by Marcus Garvey. Was it Enemies? And
Traitors.
Traitors, yes. And I started reading that one. That one really got me very interested in reading Traitors, because on Bonaire, we use the word, Mr. Finney's used the word a lot of times, bombas.
Bombas, that translation for traitors?
Well,
similar?
Mr. Finney's, what was the translation for bombas?
It's your own people, enslaved people, that the colonizer give some authority to whip you, to see of you, and then to actually you cannot do nothing, because he will
empower them.
No, empower. He will betray you. So he betrayed their own people, and is in good standing with the colonizer and the suppressor. So we call him bomba. It's actually a position, a title that you own people, because the overseer was not white. The plantation overseer was not white. It was your own people that they use against you, because they understand you, you know your language, you know who you are, you know every move of you, and then that system in our way, it continues up to today in our society. So why we have to fight so hard today? Because we're not fighting the colonizer, because we're fighting a small group of our own people who has been kept in positions after the abolition. They keep they continue the system. They modernize it. A group of the elite and a group of the also the overseers. They become later our leaders. In our case, I'm talking for my case, no, and that was it's not a simple, very easy fight, because actually you're fighting with your own, but also behind them is the colonizer who are even in our case they condecorate them. They go and stand before the king and the queen and get a medal.
Every
Every
year
year
up to
and
today.
then
Every year up to
yes,
today.
yes,
You
and
get
then
a Queen's Medal in Bonaire.
Yes.
The governor
yeah.
will give medals to every. We will never get a medal, but they will give to all the good bombers.
Yes. So that is the, I don't know the other word in English for it, but
okay, we'll take bombers. They're good bombers.
So that is the.
Okay, so then
Traitors,
so I was fascinated.
They sell you actually. They're selling you out again.
Sellouts.
Yes.
That's a good phrase.
They're selling you out.
So I was looking at the poster, and it was very interesting, and so I started reading it. I've never ever have seen that one. I saw some things from Marcus Garvey, but not that particular one. And because we have a big issue about bombers on Bonaire, and it's a big topic. It's an insult. If you call someone a bomber, they will kill you. I mean, shoot you. It's very offensive. So you know,
touching the conscience.
Yes, exactly. So that one was interesting, and so then I started to read. I was there for over 20 minutes or more. I stood there and I read every single thing, and I found I've never seen a shop. We went to so many little islands before, like the Caribbean islands, Latin American areas. I've never saw something like that, so I thought it was very interesting. But of course, the shop wasn't open yet, so I made a note, a mental note, that I will come back with Mr. Finney's. So that's what we did yesterday. And we came back, and I was walking, and he was wondering, "Are you sure you know where you're going?" Because I'm easily get lost. I said, "I know where I'm going because I mark it mentally where I have to walk to find back this shop." So that's why it was very interesting. When we returned, and we looked at, I brought Mr. Finney's shop. He was also very interesting, but then. Somebody walked through the door, and we looked at each other, and he looked at me, I looked at him, James looked at him, and he looked at James. And
there's one here?
Yes. and then something happened because it was a non-verbal communication. He was going to close the door. He was going out for a quick bit. But something stopped him. And then I don't know why I said it, but I said we are from the CARICOM Reparations Commission.
Just like that off the cuff.
Yes. And he said, "Me too."
Because it was said earlier, nothing happens by accident.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how the spirit of the ancestors work. You see?
First things out of her mouth to you that she's a member of the Reparation CARICOM, and you say, "Me
Commission,
too." Just like that?
Yeah. And I told her, well, I'm a member of the local committee. So what I'm trying to show our people is that, you know, a lot of times we think that, you know, we can succeed. But the spirit of our ancestors
guides us.
As long as we rely on them, we will always be victorious. Because, like I said before, His Majesty said we are confident in the victory of good over evil. I don't care what these colonialists do. African people and oppressed people will be free. I have no. I'm confident of that. You understand? I'm not in doubt. Because the situation we're in right now, Brother Socrates, with this global situation, where it have over 120 countries talking about de-dollarization.
Right now.
You understand? All these countries want to use BRICS. So what that shows me is that U.S. imperialism, its hegemony is under decline.
Days are numbered, yeah.
So what I'm saying to our people, be on fertile ground. All we have to do is harness our resources.
Solidify.
So we are saying here, as members of the African Consciousness Movement and all oppressed people around the world, we are saying here in Sweet Lyomega and Orly, St. Kitts and Nevis, the African Consciousness Movement is laying the groundwork for the liberation of our people. We are saying basically, you have to make a choice. You're either with African people's freedom or you're against it. There's no in-between anymore, my brother. We have tried everything. When you look at I outline some of the history that we've been through. And like I said, this is the 400th anniversary of St. Kitts being settled, right? 200th anniversary of the Monroe Doctrine. People don't know what the Monroe Doctrine clearly states that the United States have...
Just seconds there. We got 3 minutes before we close off. And I want to give them at least a chance to speak to the people of the Federation. They're going to be with the head of government shortly, but just quickly.
Yeah, let me summarize it this way. We are saying basically, it is time to make a decision. You're either working on behalf of African people's interests or you're against it.
You're bomba.
Huh?
Oh, you're bomba.
I like that.
So quickly.
Yeah. But before I say, what we want to say, this is the sound of the Mau Mau. I want our people to acknowledge that. When we say the Mau Mau, we mean land and freedom fighters.
Okay.
So give thanks.
Okay. We got about 3 minutes before we wrap up, so I want to speak to the people of the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis. I know you're going to be with the head of government shortly, but just reach out to a quick appeal. And one you want to go first, because that's the closing arm.
Okay. I just want to say is that even though we were never intended to come to St. Kitts, we were 5 years ago. St. Kitts and the Nevis was one of our idols. Because it's a small population that become independent in the 80s, is it?
83.
In 83. And we always try to make that as an example to our other, the Dutch islands, St. Martin, the Curacao, Aruba, ABC, all those islands that can do the same. So we always use St. Kitts as an example.
Okay, Brett. So?
Yes, we are very proud of you. Really proud of you. That's because an example, because we have been, our people always been suppressed and lied to, that don't think about those things, and they turn you like Haiti. That's why they've been fighting, that inter-Caribbean thing. But you are our heroes, what they say, that as an example of people.
We're glad that we're able to make an
very
impression
proud
on
of you.
Okay.
When I came to your island, I see it. I understand it because we
things
grow
are possible.
Yes, because we grow up like you too, being simple, doing our things, living our life we want to live, and be happy with what we have. But we lost that completely. So now, yes, want to close that. Yes, what is happening to us is a movement coming back to the Caribbean. It's coming back to us. In Europe, and the Dutch doesn't have no resources. They don't have gold, they don't have gas, they don't have nothing those things. All those things are here.
In the region?
In the region.
Okay.
So they're coming back. They took one island then first, then the next one. So the whole Caribbean was colonized.
Okay.
They're starting with us back. So we have to, this is a warning to the Caribbean first, but out of solidarity, we can stop it. We are here to help us stop it, because after us, they will come back for you, they'll come back for the other islands, because they don't want to stop them.
But I'm very happy that you would have met with our Foreign Minister, Douglas. Yes. And out of that, you're going to have a meeting with the Prime Minister as soon as possible. I want to say good afternoon to Petra Williams over there in Antigua, and all the folks that didn't get here today. Back on Friday, we can have a more detailed chat. This program today is one of the best ones I've had the privilege to host. I want to thank you, President. Where's your card?
Oh, sorry, here.
Oh, you took it. I want to thank you, President Bissassa, VP Finesse, for being part of the program. Rascalange, I want to thank you for introducing them to the program. I want to wish your guests and all the viewers and listeners a wonderful rest of the Wednesday. And hopefully on Thursday, Friday morning, we can continue educating and sharing with our population of viewers and listeners. If the chance arises before we leave again, please come back.
But before we leave, Brother Socrates, I want us to do programs on a regular basis, whenever we have the chance, so that we could educate our people to let them know basically what is happening. Because what Granny said, liberation by any means necessary.
Okay, on that note,
Get ready for the biggest sales event of the year. It's the Horseman's Furniture and Appliances major sales event, where we're slashing prices by 20% off on all major